Welcome to part 2 of resetting this Gibson neck. I've already removed the neck and now it's time to change the neck angle and get it reinstalled. Let's pick up the action where I last left off, preparing and carving the heel. Here I'm just undercutting this heel. Just creating a little pocket right next to this dovetail, so when I remove material to set the angle, I don't have to remove all this bulk of material here. I just remove the outer edge. Saves a lot of time. Now the idea here is you want to have the neck angle line up with the top of this bridge, and you just want it to clear by about a 32nd of an inch or so. It's just clearing. Put a clamp on here and see if I get the same results. It's barely touching the top of that bridge. It's not that bad. I'm going to do a few sandpaper pulls to even up the surface so it matches up with the body contour perfectly. Then I'm going to check to see if it's square. The strings line up okay. It's going to do 4 or 5 pulls on each side. Now we're clearing the top of the bridge. The way I do this is I'll take this straight edge, line it up with this edge of the fingerboard, and draw a pencil mark on the bridge on both sides. And here's my 2 pencil marks. That's pretty good. It's slightly skewed towards the base, right? Which is okay because on the treble strings, you want it to be inset slightly more than on the bass side, because you might be like playing some high leads or whatever, and you don't want it to be falling off the fingerboard. On the low side, it's just going to be all bass notes. So I'm going to go with this and get this glued in place. So now I got some shims that I need to put on the sides of these dovetails because I removed material from these cheeks right here, and now it's a little bit loose in the dovetail. So I'm going to use fish glue to glue in these really thin shims. I want to leave a little bit of a gap right at the bottom. I don't need it to go all the way to the bottom of this dovetail. You stay. Put a little bit of glue here. Again for this side. I got a couple of special little wedges that fit in here somehow. I think I've got them flipped. Okay. Let that dry. Not long, about an hour. We'll come back and start working the shim and get it to fit inside this mortise here. So here's an interesting thing. So when I run a straight edge, let's do it this way. Let's see the whole thing. Okay. When I run a straight edge down on the bass side, now the thing is, this bridge, it's tapered. On the treble side here, it is a lot lower than on the bass side. So I'm going by where this plane hits the bridge. Typically you want it to be just over the top of the bridge, you know, depending on your situation. But because this is tapered low and then this side's higher, I don't want to go by the low side and I don't want to go by the high side. So common sense is telling me go by the middle. I'm not 100% sure on that. I've never had to deal with this kind of a drastic bridge angle, but common sense is telling me shoot for the middle. I guess that's how I'm going to play this. I'll put strings on here and just double check this anyway, but you can see I'm just clearing about a 30-second or so over the middle of the bridge. So I'm going to go with that. Get a couple of strings on here and check my alignment, and then that'll also kind of tell me where the action is sitting at this point, if it's ready to glue on or not. So let's get a couple of strings on here, shall we? So I got 2 strings on there, but look at the action. Now the saddle height, yeah, it's a tall saddle. It's 1/8 of an inch, which is not uncommon. I want to start there. I don't want to start lower. I want to start higher. So, but when I check the action at the 12th fret, on the low side, you know, it's 1/8 of an inch. On the high side, it's better. It's about 6/64, but it's 8/64 on the low. So it's going to put a little tension on this truss rod and see if that has any effect on it. And then I'll check the flatness. Okay, now on the low side, about 7/64. So it gets a little bit better. Not what I'm hoping. I don't think this is quite set at the right angle. I think I got to go more. I think I might, instead of having to go off the middle, I might have to go on off the base side. I don't know. What do you guys think? You tell me. But look, this is telling me everything I need to know right there. This is too damn high. This has got to come down. My neck angle's got to go back. So I got to do a little more setting, a little more sanding, a little more removing. I may have to reshim that dovetail. Okay, so scratch that middle of the bridge idea. I'm going for the base side. Let me do that whole thing all over again. I won't bore you with that. And I'll try to bring you back right here in this same spot as soon as I'm done with all that. Okay, now I'm back to where it should be. I got the neck angle correct, and I had to redo it all and reshim it and the whole 9. But there's one last thing that I want to do before I glue it in place. Now, right here, I want to take a little cut right at the top of this heel here, and I'll explain why. So, you're changing that neck angle. Here's the fingerboard. Here's your neck. Here's the heel. And then you got this dovetail joint right there. Now, the way the guitar sat before, this was the perfect angle of the whatever the body is, you know, 90 degrees roughly. But now we went and changed this angle. And so now the body is going to sit, I'm exaggerating, but the body's going to sit like that. And so right here, if this dovetail stays straight, you're going to get a little rise when you go to reinstall this back down, because this dovetail protrudes out and the fingerboard extends over that and then drops down to meet the top of the body. I don't know if that makes any sense, but when you put a relief in there, giving a little bit of flex, here's the fingerboard, here's the heel. If you put a little bit of relief right there, now the top fingerboard actually can start flexing back here, right at the heel, rather than in front of the dovetail. So it prevents a little bit of that rise at the 12th, 14th fret, whatever we're at with this guitar. 14th fret, I believe. So that's what I'm going to do. Anyway. Now this fingerboard is able to flex a little bit right at this seam right here. It's not much, but just enough. Now I'm ready to glue it back on. Now you notice I didn't have to put a shim under this extension. And when you have a binding like that, you really don't. You try to avoid putting a shim because you'll always see it. The binding won't cover it, and it'll always just sort of look like an extra little piece there. But this neck angle wasn't such a drastic change. Although right here at the heel, you can see there's a little gap from where it used to be because I had to remove material, and this is angled, tapered. The sides are tapered, so as you remove material, it actually makes this footprint a little smaller. So I put some dye in there just to give it a little color underneath where the joint is. Then I'll come back later and add a little bit of lacquer and some color and finish up that heel. So I'm going to let this dry overnight, and then hopefully, well, we got to make a real saddle. This is just a temporary saddle, so look at it, it's broken in half. It's just a piece of plastic. Anyway, we're going to make a new saddle. The nut should be fine. Let this dry, clean it up. I got to do a little finish work now on the bridge. Beautiful. I think that came out fantastic. Now I just got to put it all sort of back together and cleaned up. Finish up the bridge. I got to finish drilling these holes, make a saddle, put this fret back in, and put strings on it. The first thing I want to do is take some warm water and clean up some of the glue residue. Okay, now I just have this clamp holding a piece of plywood on the inside. Just has a little backer. I got this blade that I made. Well, I shaped it out of a Sawzall blade, but it's perfect for cutting these string slots. Get these a little bit. Don't ask me why he's got two lighter ones on the outside. It's what he's got. Got what you got, I guess. Okay. Now I'm going to make a saddle. I'll do a video on making the saddle someday, but today I'm just going to make a saddle. Saddle will appear now. Voila. There you have it. Nice tall saddle. A little way too tall, but it's a good place to start. And then I'll get some strings on here and see where we're at. Okay, I got it all strung up. Pretty tall saddle on there. And the action's pretty high as well. So I took measurements. I got 7 64ths on the treble, 8 64ths on the bass. I want to get it down to 4 and 5. So I'm going to take 3 64ths from both sides. So which means I'm going to take 3 32nds off the height of this saddle. So I've got plenty of room. I got about a 1/4 inch now. So I'll take 3 32nds off here, and that'll get it hopefully right to the right action. Now we got it back up to pitch. I removed 3 32nds off this saddle, and now I got 4 and 5 64ths. Still watching, that means you made it to the end of the video. Thank you for that. If you like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Oh, and thanks for all the new subscribers from last month. I think I had like 40. Not going so well. I also set up a Patreon page if you want to contribute to my channel. Even $1 a month goes a long way, because I need tools. And it's cold in my shop. Somebody has to pay the heat bill. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace out.